Hello and welcome to the 42 Donaghy GAA show. We're live here in 42 studios. That's a bit fancy actually, in the Journal offices here in Dublin. My own name is Gavan Casey. I'm joined by the 42 GAA editor Fintan O'Toole, and we are also delighted to be joined by the man with the firmest handshake west of the Shannon and now east of the Shannon as well. It is the legend David Brady. Did you enjoy yourself yesterday, David?
No, no. Let's speak. You can't really enjoy it when it's that close. It had everything: the thrills, the spills. It was pulsating, but it takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of me. But you know what? Woke up again this morning. You're going. The whole country's looking forward to 6 days' time, and the replay of what we served up yesterday was an absolute credit to all concerned, and we have it all to look forward to next Saturday. But no, I'm at the stage of life now where I just want to get it over, done with, and get the result. And it's hard, but it's a spectacle that's second to none, I think.
Yeah, he had an impressive prediction during the week on Off the Ball, Fintan.
He did, yeah. I suppose Aidan O'Shea lined up for throw-in around midfield, but didn't stay there. And I think there was kind of a collective kind of gasp in the press box when he started going back to full back. And I think, I remember talking to people at half time, the sense was, he'll surely push up at some stage during the second half. But no, apart from the two throw-ins, when Donal Vaughan started on Donaghy, the rest of the game, Aidan O'Shea was on Donaghy. Can't say it's a left field call, but it's definitely thinking outside the box. Probably the last thing, maybe halfway comparable, was what Tyrone did with Donaghy in 08, putting the two McMahons back there. Well, Tommy Walsh was there as well, but definitely yesterday. When you think that 2 years ago in the two Dublin games, O'Shea was full forward, it's kind of a tribute to what they think of his versatility, the fact that he was full back yesterday. Yeah, the Wayne Rooney of GAA is becoming. What did you make of it when you saw him go back there? All of a sudden you're kind of, what would have been perceived by many as an outlandish prediction had come to fruition, and what are your thoughts as you see him kind of wander back there? Yeah,
well, I think in the build-up to the game, a lot of people questioned my sanity, and I think they're just questioning my sanity and Stephen Rochford's sanity now. Look, when I seen him going back, I'm going, Jesus, this is a big call now. I can make it in the comfort of a couch. You're right now, you're on the phone to the boys, you're in the studio, but for a management, you know what? I think it was. You can call it an absolute outrageous call, but I think it was a good call, and it served its purpose for a period of there was no aerial bombardment. But what transpired is that the 70 minutes, I was dumbfounded at that. But I can't go against the management for doing it, because if I was there, I'd have probably done the same thing, and it's. People are focusing on that, and it was a major kind of subplot, and then it was the main part of the script. But you look at it and go, there were so many things there yesterday that were mind-boggling. The scores, the goals, the coming back, the mistakes. But people say, look, you have Aidan O'Shea in at full back. He probably did play too far behind, way too far behind. You go to yourself, what is the management going to sit down and do this week? I haven't thought myself about it too much. I'm only getting my head around it now. But you have two options. You either move them or you don't. And if they move them, there's an automatic, I think, possibility of maybe Lee Keegan going back on Donaghy. And
you heard it here first.
Yeah. So then you're going to yourself, but do you say to Aidan, you know what? Things worked well, things didn't. Are we going to play a lot more in front of him now? You've had the game experience. We still have the full faith in you to say, right, play in front. Let's practice this on 2 nights this week, 45 minutes. It's not going to come around. But people are saying, he got, and he did, and he was outstanding. But that's the footballer he is. And I said it all week. He's a top class footballer all around. But you're going, people say, this guy's played full back. He's never played full back before. It's a special position. There was 1 or 2 Curry boys playing cornerback that played all their lives there. And Andy Moran scored 1-5, and he was responsible for a total of 2-8. So, there's a question mark in Mayo, but there's 5 or 6 question marks, I think, from Eamon Fitzmaurice perspective, and I think he'll have a lot more thinking to do this week, and organising and switching and plotting and planning than Stephen Rochford will.
Was one problem with it though, from a Mayo point of view, was that the ball just wasn't coming in high. We were speaking about it on Friday that in the Munster final, they maybe caught Cork a bit unawares that all the ball going into Donaghy that day was low into his chest. Then they went high in the quarter-final against Galway to kind of exploited the fact that they had a rookie full back. But I think there was only 2 balls went in high yesterday. One, I don't think was actually meant. Stephen O'Brien kind of ballooned a shot.
Over
and won that in the first half.
Hogan,
and then the second one then was that led to the Johnny Buckley goal. But that was, as you said before the internet, it was a Mayo mistake.
That was a Mayo error.
That led to Aidan not getting the ball over in the Kazakhstan side.
Yeah, and you're going to yourself, you know what? Probably if you looked at a lot of the way, look at the way Kerry play football. Man says they don't kick for the sake of kicking. They know when it's on and know when it's not. And especially when there was that came, you know, the Mayo goal or the goal that Kerry got came from a Mayo mistake. Aidan was 2 inches away from getting the ball at the sideline, but it just he didn't reach it. But Kerry were aware to say, as we were saying, Aidan was pointing. He's going, someone get back, and the ball straight in, high ball in, and the Kerry machine got the benefit of it. But I do think that when you have to look at the overall picture, that I don't know if Aidan O'Shea was at centre forward, would Mayo have got that amount of space? Would there have been the massive gap that there was if Aidan was there? Because he's going to have a focus, and you're going to be focused if you're a centre back or you're a midfielder or you're a defender. You need to stay back, and you need to maybe double team him, or you know he's a threat. But I think it opened up a lot of things for the likes of Jason Doherty, who I thought was phenomenal yesterday. The space inside for Kerry was. You know what? 2-on-2. It's sometimes that's as kamikaze as putting Aidan O'Shea back full back.
Yeah, big time. Well, we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts at home. So if you've got any hot takes on the game or questions for David, please do send them in. Fintan, which way do you think Rochford will go with O'Shea, and I suppose more importantly, who he's going to put on Donaghy next week? Do you reckon he'll stick or twist?
Who knows? I mean, who can read Stephen Rochford's mind? Right. That's probably the biggest thing that you can say, and that's probably makes it tricky for Kerry. I mean, we were asking him Fitzmaurice in the press conference afterwards about it, and he said, you know, we had considered O'Shea being back on Donaghy, but that was kind of down the list of probabilities we thought, and he made the point that it kind of maybe unsettled them a slight in the matchups that they had planned for out the field. So, you know, obviously they had to kind of get their heads around that pretty quickly. It's very difficult to kind of say definitely what he's going to do because of what happened yesterday. I think what's going to be just as interesting, just going on what like David was referring to there, is what Kerry are going to do at the back. And I mean, like by halftime yesterday, they made 3 changes, and it was confirmed afterwards none of them were injury. It was all tactical. Donaghy Walsh, they confirmed that he did his hamstring last Tuesday night, and that it's a pretty quick turnaround for him to get ready in 6 days. So
he was a massive loss yesterday.
You see his worth, and like Fitzmaurice did make a very good point afterwards that sometimes it can be very easy to look at the full back line. I think the line was, he said, the full back line gets thrown to the wolves. So when the team concedes 2 goals, and Mayo probably should have had a third, I think, at that one that kind of skidded around in front of the Hill 16. That, you know, everyone looks at the full back line, but I just didn't think that they were maybe given the cover from out the field as they usually have been when someone like Donaghy Walsh is there. So I mean, we saw it in 2014, he made a couple of big calls in between the replay. I think it was Mark O'Shea He was kind of asked about that yesterday, and he said, you know, tomorrow will be a big day. So I imagine when he looks back in the video, he's not afraid to make big calls, but he does have some big decisions to make in his team after what happened yesterday, particularly in the first half hour.
Yeah, but you look at it and it says, go back to 2014, he had the options. He had, you know, Mark O'Shea being dropped. But now this is a Kerry team that has lost to Samosas, lost to Galvins, lost to O'Mahony's, lost to Gooch. They're experienced in top class, but they have a bit of bite about them, a bit of guile. Now, the way Kerry have played, I think, they push up to the max, to put the press on, I think, 90% of the time. Going into the game, only 35%. They only allowed the opposition kick 35% of the kick-outs short. So that means they have the permanent push, which means guys are pushed up, and again, if a half-forward line pushes up, it means that you're going to be exposed at the back, because you can't put a push and drop a man back at the same time. There's going to be a mismatch. So you either all up or none up. So it's going to be, they are going to change that tactic as well. And then it goes, if they do try and cover their full back line, now you have to have confidence in your full back line, full stop. But if they do sit back, it's going to give an opportunity, I think, for the Mayo runners to come from midfield, and maybe Aidan O'Shea, if he's put back in a centre forward position, to go at Kerry a little bit. It's look at it, it's intriguing, just as the game was, and again, it's going to be what ifs and the question marks and everything else over the next week. But I just wouldn't like to be a manager this week.
No, that's probably fair enough. I don't know how people. Yeah, I wouldn't like to be a manager most weeks.
No.
But from Mayo's perspective, then, David, I suppose conversely to Kerry's problems at the back, up top, you probably look a little bit shallow in terms of the depth you've got. Like, I suppose towards the end of that game yesterday, what we saw again, and I think it's happened before with Mayo. Like, I mean, it was Paddy Durcan who kicked the equaliser, and it was defenders really who were taking those shots in the clutch. And do you see anyone on Mayo's bench that you could possibly look to as a potential saviour next week if it came to kind of that squeaky bum time again?
You know what I do? Again, if we look on the programme there now, we're going that the vast amount of the Mayo panel is defensive players. They're either defensive midfielders or defensive backs. You have Conor Loftus, who was an out-and-out forward. Came on and did. I think he probably... I think he needs more game time, and he should be given more game time. Coming on the last few minutes, like we are introducing Stephen Cohen in every single game for a good 20-25 minutes, but it's in a defensive option. He's a defender. He's an out-and-out holder of a midfield. He was put in midfield yesterday for a while. You have Stephen Drake, who's probably the same type of player. I do think there may be a possibility and an opening for the likes. And again, you're going, do not... The amount of ageism that's going on in GAA at the minute is incredible, because everyone is, once you're over 20 you're too old. Andy Moran is proved yesterday what he can do. I think the likes of, say, Alan Dillon is a possibility. Like if we go back 12 months ago, now I know he's had a bit of injury and the lack of game time this year, but against Tyrone in Northern quarter final, and says he pulled a massive amount of the strings for 45 minutes and did his job and went off. I think he can possibly do that. I do see the likes of Shane Nanny being an option, but again you're contradicting yourself, David, because he's an actual kind of a halfback, but he has a lot of scoring potential like Paddy Durcan. But when you are getting Stephen Cohen, Patrick Durcan on the ball in the last closing minutes, you're going, and they are defenders, but you're going to have Mayo where's their go-to men? Killeen was the go-to man in the Roscommon game, in the Drone game. So they got the right men on the ball at the right times. It just didn't work. Killeen, I think it was 2 shots he had in the last 2 or 3 minutes that didn't work out. But it's you know what? I think the Mayo forward performance as a unit, and people will always, until the end of the days, until Mayo win on Ireland, they'll say they haven't got forwards, but they had a performance yesterday from Andy Moran that was just sublime.
And in fairness, I mean, like, Moran got 1-5 for play, like Killeen got 3 points in play. I thought he came into it fairly well in the second half. He kicked one brilliant point when he took on Killeen Young, the Cusack side. Like, Doherty was winning balls, so I mean, like, if you have 2 inside forwards getting 1-8 from play between them and Doherty winning the ball, I mean, that's a pretty good return. It was just, I think there was a stat that O'Connor's 61st minute point was the last shot that a Mayo forward had. So it was just that issue of the last... I mean, like you saw Kerry were trying to get Gainey loose, weren't they, when they were point up? Like he's their go-to guy, and he was on song in the second half. So they were looking, right, how are we going to kill this game? We get our best shooter on the ball.
And you have what you have also is that you've got Barry John King that coming in and made a talent contribution. I thought Darren O'Sullivan come on, made a talent contribution. He injected that little bit of pace, even on the conditions don't suit that type of a style of a player. But they have more forward options from the bench. But you can have all the forwards in the world if you're leaking at the back, and that's what was happening, and that's why the game, did anyone deserve to win? I don't think Mayo left it behind them. That's the truth. I think when you look at it as a manager, you'll be saying, you know what, we were a point down and the clock was running out of time, but we still managed. We came back, we finished, and it's the old scenario. The team that finished the stronger finishes the better or comes back. Has a lot of confidence and positivity to look at when they're reviewing this during the week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. There's a question here for you, David, from John Gardner, which his name here is followed in brackets. Yes, that one, which leads me to believe it is indeed the Cork hurler, John Gardner, who asks. I hope it's not
a hurling question, because I know damn all about football. But
he asks, would you have taken Colin Boyle off?
No. Not.
Are you sure?
Not. No. Why?
I want to joke.
Yeah. No. Not next night or near it. And I thought he was making serious and injection. Like, I don't know what goal he played the part in, but he jinked. He made serious talent contributions yesterday, and he also kept a half forward line from Kerry, they were absolutely non-existent to a degree. I wouldn't have taken him off.
Do you think it's pre-planned, because it's the third game in a row now that he seems to be? He actually was brought off earlier yesterday around the 40-minute mark, and the couple, I think it was the Roscommon Drone game around 55, the Cork match, he was brought off, and around the time Lee Keegan got the black card, and that was when Cork started to come back into it. I mean, I don't maybe. Yeah. Look, we don't know what's going on inside. Maybe he's carrying an injury, but it just seems almost pre-planned.
He's carrying no injury, and I don't think. And John has been in a lot of the restrooms. I've been in a lot of restrooms. I don't ever seen where it's pre-planned that you know in your heart and soul that you're going to come off after 45 minutes.
Do you think the management have decided maybe not to hold him, or?
Well, if he had scored 1-4 yesterday, would they have still taken him off after 45 minutes? Not a chance. I think it's and again he's one of the most experienced defenders. I think the back door has given him a runway to progress. He's playing better and better with every game. You're looking at Aidan needed at one stage to be taken out of full back yesterday, so you bring Colin Boyle onto centre back, who came on then, Darren O'Sullivan. So you're going perfect match. Donaghy Vaughan goes back to full back, Aidan goes into the forwards. I wouldn't have taken Colin Boyle off. No.
Two related questions here from Mark Brady. I'm not sure if that's a relation of yours. He asks, why not put Seamus O'Shea back instead? Donaghy is going to beat either of them on the ground anyway, question mark. Colin Clark asks, would you have put Shamey back on star rather than Aidan?
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, would Shamey have fared out any better? Like, you're looking for a physicality. I do think that there was by Aidan being there did benefit the Mayo forward line for creating space and opening up and it definitely threw a curveball to Kerry, but the curveball kind of came back and hit Mayo on the head. But I wouldn't have put Shamey back. No. Again, so you're putting Aidan to midfield. I wouldn't put Aidan in midfield. Like, the fact that Barry Moran is injured this year, hasn't played a game, is probably is a disadvantage to Mayo. But I wouldn't have put Shamey back to midfield. I thought Tom Parsons was excellent yesterday. Surgeon runs forward defensively, competing in the air, because you have Anthony Marr that was taken off, and you have David Moran who. He's a top class footballer, but Tom Parsons give as good as he got yesterday. But no, I wouldn't put Shamey back. No.
Comment here from Dennis Joseph Jr. Downey.
That's
I think he's actually playing Iron Man's son in the next Marvel film. I think Kerry have more to improve on than Mayo, especially. Kerry didn't really play yesterday. That was one of the things that was kind of, I suppose, suggested by the RTE panel afterwards, that Mayo were by far the better team, and I think they probably edged it to an extent, but I also think when the scoreline reads 214 to 214, there's no hugely superior team.
Well, like they were level 6 times after the 45th minute, and after the 45th, no team went ahead by more than 2 points, so that's over half an hour of action. So when it was that tightly contested on the scoreboard, I don't think you can definitively come down on either side. God, you've thrown it away, you know?
Yeah, like people said thrown it away, and you're going, Mayo didn't throw anything away. And said the game is to be played next Saturday again. And the whole thing that Kerry have more to improve leads me to say, and I always in the back of my mind saying, you know what, these guys won the National League final, so don't go there. But you're going, the same was said after the Galway game, they've more to improve. But they didn't improve, I don't think, from the Galway game. To a degree, yes, Kieran Donaghy was fantastic, but there's you know what, I thought Donaghy Vaughan on Buckley, that came out. So is Johnny Buckley going to change his whole dynamic as a player next Sunday? The two Enright, you have Griffin, Morley had to go back to plug a hole in the full back line. I don't think Anthony Marr, I'd say between Jack Barry and Jack Savage, there'll be changes. So, you know, that's a major throw of the dice. But I think they have to improve. But I don't know, is a week long enough for them to improve? Because with everything that's happened and the 600 minutes that Mayo have played, bar extra time, I think that's brilliant. Because they're doing exactly what they've done all year nearly. They're going to train on Wednesday. And they know how their bodies are. They know how to recoup. The Kerry boys haven't played a game in 4 weeks.
So it's the first time they have a week-on-week turnaround as well.
Yeah, so you have your knocks, you have your aches, you have your niggles and everything else. It takes a little bit of time to recover when you haven't played the intensity of a championship game for 4 weeks. your body takes that little bit more to recover, and I think it's in Mayo's advantage. I go back to the basis that Mayo have one question really to answer, selection wise. Kerry have 6 or 7. Now, have they got 6 or 7 guys in that program to come on and do it? I don't think defensively they have. Forwards, yes. So it's Francis again. Wouldn't like to be a manager.
We've got one good one here actually before we turn to you for predictions for the weekend. So David, Alan Gill asks, did Mayo need quicker ball into the forwards?
Do they need quicker ball into the forwards? Yesterday was the quickest ball I have ever seen going into a forward line. I haven't got the exact stats, but a man did tell me that it was the most Mayo have kicked in a competitive championship game in 3 years. Because you look up and you're going, there's no way I'm going to go with this ball. Ball travels faster than man, and there was so much space inside. There was phenomenal ball kicked in left, right, up the middle to the Mayo forward line. It was probably the best delivery of ball, which wouldn't be associated with Mayo that I've seen in a long time.
Fair enough. I suppose we better get your prediction then. I suppose you've made a few big calls already. Lee Keegan to go back on Donaghy. We'll see how that one plays out. But considering the week you've had, I know you have to do the lotto later. How'd you see it going? Hand on heart.
Hand on heart. On Saturday I said that it was going to be a draw. Don't be surprised. I cannot take another draw. I cannot. So there's going to be a winner. There's going to be a winner. And I do think that there's a lot more question marks over Kerry's performance than Mayo's performance. And I think when you look at it, you're going, Mayo, what they did yesterday. Can Aidan O'Shea play centre forward and transform? Can Kieran give a little bit more? Can Shamey O'Shea give a little bit more? Can Lee Keegan? And I know the injury that he had, it wasn't something that you were going to be 100% with yesterday. The extra week will give him a long time. I think we can get a lot more out of Lee. And I do think that Mayo are in the driving seat. And I think they can drive on and win the game on Saturday.
Will they though?
Yeah, they will. They will. And you know what? It mightn't be as tight as people are predicting. I think you look at the way that Mayo transformed within a week for the Roscommon game, and they come out, and you're not going to ever blow Kerry away. But I think they can really hit them hard at the start. And I'm looking forward to it, but I actually think Mayo will win.
Be interested to see what success they have in the inside line. Mayo, I mean, like they did pretty well on James O'Donoghue, you'd have to say. I mean, they only got a point from play. Okay, maybe won a couple of frees before half time. He was taken off.
He wasn't happy coming off.
No, he wasn't.
Now, when I've thrown my gloves into the sub seats once or twice, and it wasn't over the joy of being taken off. And I don't think he's happy with his game. I don't think he's happy with taking off. Would you have left him on in the white heated battle if there was? He's a natural class forward. But when you have the likes of Barry John Keane and these guys available to you, Darren O'Sullivan, it's a team game, and that's what Mayo played yesterday. So yeah, it's going to be a week of ifs, whats, and maybes. But Saturday, Lansford.
What do we have you in? What about Sunday? Prediction there.
I honestly, I'll call a spade a spade. I think that the Ulster Championship has been, to a degree, not overhyped, but I don't think the quality in Ulster this year has been anywhere like it's been in the past 5 or 6 years. And Tyrone are ideally suited to challenge Dublin, but I actually don't think that they will. I don't think they'll overcome them, and I think Dublin will love this sort of a game because it'll test them in every shape and form. But I don't think Tyrone will outlast them at all, and I can see not a comfortable Dublin win, but I can see them definitely not being troubled to the extent where a lot of people are calling us Tyrone, or I think it's Tyrone, or maybe they could. This is Dublin, and they have everything that you'd want between panel, subs, and a collective. They're going for 3 in a row. Simple as that.
So we get a repeat of last year's final, so.
You know what? No, you won't get a repeat of last year's final because last year's final. So you're going to get a different result.
So repeat pairing, but not the same
repeat
results.
pairing, not the same result. That's confidence, again. That's
Oh,
confidence.
serious, go on. Looking forward to that now. Well, David, thanks a million for joining
Pleasure,
us.
boys.
42
Good chat.
GAA show. We will be back on Friday with close calls. We'll be looking forward to Conor McGregor against Floyd Mayweather in Las Vegas. Any pick for that, actually?
Look, I'm sticking to GAA. Whatever I know about it, I know a little, but I know nothing about MMA or fighting. No, and I don't guess. I just know. I go with what I know.
Fair enough. Well, until then, have a good week and take care. Cheers.